Indeed, beloved goddesses and gods and God and goddesses together. Anyway.
Thank you.
Because that's what you are. You are gods and you are goddesses. And how many times have we mentioned this to you? Many, 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 many times. Anyway, because that's exactly what you are. It is the understanding of knowing that you are gods and goddesses that changes lives, that changes the way you are, that changes the way you think, that changes the way you feel, that changes the way you react to your everyday trials and tribulations and such. But also understand that the knowingness that you're gods and goddesses changes you also in consciousness and in what is called in actuality, in reality. And when you finally come to the realization that you truly are gods and goddesses, there'll be no stopping you. No government on earth can stop you. No different people such as what they call white supremacists and all these other peoples, and all these other organizations that think they have control over you. They do not. You have control over you. You do not have, and no one else has control over you. Nor your governments, nor your organizations, or any of this, because you are a god or goddess. You were born a god or goddess. Keep that in your mind, in your heart mind, because that is exactly what you are. When Jesus walked the planet, or Sananda Jesus, however you want to phrase him to be, he simply reminded his people that he was speaking with on the mount, on the Sermon on the Mount. When he was doing this, he was simply reminding them of their godhood, of their goddessness. And when they realized that they were more than their essence, things began to change in their lives and others around them. Because once they realized that they are gods and goddesses, there was no stopping them. They were able to perform miracles upon miracles upon miracles in the eyes of those who were not awake. But yet, understand, they received the message of knowingness, and when they did that, they were straightway healed, no matter what kind of affliction they had, or what state of mind they were in, or whatever. When they simply were reminded that they were gods and goddesses and that they were healers, they began to heal one another. So it wasn't just the miracles of Christ or Jesus that would have made the story of the Bible a reality. It was the multitude of people that Jesus Sananda had preached to on the Sermon on the Mount. All those people, maybe not all of them, but most of them, came to realize their goddessness and their godhood. And they were able to access that power, that understanding of who they were, who they truly were. And that is why, but that is not spoken of in the Bible. They only speak of Jesus Sananda doing the Sermon on the Mount, but there was far much more that took place at that time. And just as we are giving you the message today that you are gods and goddesses, and it is not an old message, it is a renewal message over and over and over. And also understand that quasar and Zorra have a new what's called email, and this email is a profound email. It is a profound email, and this email is for what is called. You wish to say something? Go ahead.
Well, I think you just you've already mentioned it, Zorra. I wasn't going to mention it, but okay, go ahead and tell us.
It is this. Write it down because it is very important to you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am healed at gmail.com. So now understand that is a very powerful email. Every time you do it, every time you send them an email, you must write in that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am healed, and it's going to permeate into your subconscious, into your knowingness. It's going to remind you every time you send an email to Zorra or Quasar, and it is going to make an impact upon you because of what it simply says. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am healed. And you understand why now that when you send an email to Zorra and Quasar, that you're going to get an impact from that alone. So now, moving on from that. Yes, go ahead.
You know what? I forgot all about I forgot about doing the invocation. I was getting so excited about, getting started with the show.
Maybe you should do the invocation.
Yeah, it'll only take about, a couple of minutes. So
go right ahead and do so.
That was a very powerful message, and we thank you, and thank you for sharing our email. That will it will not replace the BZJ. We will still have that. I'd like to keep that in particular for, we'll be looking at both of those emails. So again, it's 54321, I am healed, at, HEALD, at gmail.com. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's do our invocation for today. Let's go ahead and invoke that violet flame, the violet flame of Saint Germain, to be able to transmute all that we no longer want and need in our space, in all of our various bodies, and be able to let go of all of that and bring in pure love, divine love to heal. And so let us begin. I am my I am presence. I breathe light into my heart center. I am a temple of light. I call forth the full power of the violet flame of forgiveness to transmute the causes, core effects, habits, records, and memories of every thought, feeling, word, or action I have ever expressed in any time frame or dimension, known or unknown, that reflects anything associated with such things as poverty consciousness, victimhood, separation, powerlessness, low vitality, suffering, ill health, disease, misuse of male or female energy, misuse of power, health, self-hatred, shame, belief in being bad, fear, rage, blame, negative judgment and prejudice, attachment to people, doing things my way, or lack and limitation of any kind. And so, with love as my intention, I blaze the violet flame through every atomic and subatomic particle and wave of precious life energy that has my signature on it in any place and time that reflects anything less than the infinite perfection of my God, Goddess self. I trust God to transmute every speck of my being into the highest love and light, health, and abundance. I ask my I Am Presence, my God, Goddess Self, to fill the space with the golden white light of God's Source, Prime Creator, Mother, Father, Gods, and my God, Goddess Self, infinite light, love, health, and abundance. And now I accept this as accomplished, and I know it, and so it is. Breathe it in. Oh, this beautiful violet flame of protection, of transmutation, transformation. And replace this, anything having to do with 3D, duality, negativity, all gone. Replaced with this brilliant golden white light. Pure love, pure light, great health and abundance. And so it is. Thank you all. Okay, Zorra, we can continue.
Indeed.
You have at your, so in regards to questions and answers?
Yes, I know.
Yes.
I'm glancing at them presently.
All right, Zorra. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you once again, for being here.
Understand that the lesser God known as Jehovah, that Christians and especially Koreans worshiping him as creator God, he is also which is called a lesser God, but still a God in power. And so is he one to worship? If you wish, go right ahead. But understand, when you worship, it goes directly to the God or Goddess within your being. That is what answers your prayer, not something out in the cosmos. It is you. It is the God and Goddess within you that brings about the reality of prayer being answered. And that is something that people need to realize, because the gods and goddesses are very powerful and within your being. And when you pray, you simply pray to the God or goddess of your being. It doesn't come out that way because it has been taught otherwise. But that is the reality of it. So, Jehovah is a God, yes. Is he the creator God? In a sense, yes. In a sense, no. So, all gods are
Zorra?
creators. All gods and goddesses are creators.
Excuse me, Zorra?
Yes, go ahead.
Zorra, yes. In regards to that question, I think she is asking you what entity is Jehovah? I mean, what is Jehovah? I mean, many people look at Jehovah as a God, as creator. So who
Indeed.
is he?
They also look at Jesus Christ as the creator as well.
So is he synonymous with Jesus?
In a sense, yes. In a sense, yes. No.
Okay. So there are two different entities, correct?
They are indeed.
Okay. So, and they were or are real. They are live entities that are presently here on our surface.
They are. They are in what is called, I wouldn't say they're on the surface, but they're in ships. So,
okay.
Well, that is a simple way to put it. They are in ships. They are not hovering out in your atmosphere. They are on ships in conjunction with what is called the New Jerusalem. So all the ones, the gods and goddesses that are of what's called the ancient gods and goddesses such as Apollo and Zeus and the others, all of them are all gods, and they are all real, and they are all what is called all what is termed as lesser gods, and but they are still gods, just as everyone walking this planet are gods and goddesses, as we continue to pound into the heads of those that seem to be asleep. But and every time we give a message, we always let you know that you're gods and goddesses, and not to forget that. And that is something that you do not need to forget. Yes?
Perhaps, Zorra. Maybe it's because most people here, they are not God realized, whereas we
they're
have
unrealized
Buddha,
gods.
So we have Krishna, we have Buddha. Those are other lesser gods in themselves.
Indeed,
lesser gods.
Indeed, they are.
Right. So now we kind of know, a little bit of the difference, between the lesser gods, that they absolutely are all God realized within their entities. And they have created, because they have been able to move into that level of what we call super consciousness, where they are already one with Source, and therefore when you are fully realized, you are able to manifest different planets, manifest different creations within yourself. Is that true?
That is true. Very well put.
All right. Well, thank you, Zorra. Okay, so our next question is?
Now it comes to what is termed as the QFS. QFS, which is Quantum Financial System, that was put into place to eliminate the possibility of counterfeiting, and counterfeiting the currencies, counterfeiting the blessing, and putting in creations that are not real. They're tangible, but they're not real. They're not what you call usable, and they're flooding the internet with those. And so you must be very careful when you purchase currency to make sure that it is not counterfeit, because there's much of that going on. However, that is why you have multicolored bills, and making it more difficult for counterfeiters to counterfeit. However, with a quantum financial system, which is all digital, by the way, and it is going to eliminate the possibility of counterfeiting. The ones that out there doing counterfeiting, it would be impossible to counterfeit the QFS entirely. So it is a safeguard that they have put into place in regards to the blessing, or the RV, the slang term RV. It is to safeguard this, so it cannot be tampered with by the cabal or anyone else. People are trying to say that the QFS is cabal. It is not. It is a system that was put into place by the representatives of the Galactic Federation of Planets, and also of the representatives upon the Earth. that are also in unison with the Galactic Federation of Planets. And so do not worry or do not fear that the QFS is going to harm you. It is not there to harm you. It is there to protect your blessing. Enough said for
Zorra?
that. Indeed.
I guess the question is that there were two comments that came through that said that people who were already in touch with their Wells Fargo managers or whatever, that they've never heard of the QFS. So is this one of those things, again, that they're not aware of, and then that is intentional?
That is intentional.
Okay.
But it will also when they get them, what is the term on the surface? When they get the memo, a little bit of humor there. When they get the memo, they're going to know exactly what the QFS is. Because, as I said, it has to do with a digital system. And because understand, no bank on the surface of this planet has enough currency in a paper form to accommodate everyone. So your blessing is going to be in the form of a digital format, a digital currency.
Thank you for that, Zorra.
Indeed. Enough for that question.
Okay, and of course you know the main question.
Of course. And the answer to that is simple. Divine Creator has what is called a divine plan. And the divine plan, as other plans also come forth, do have a tendency to alter or to change or to so that is what is currently occurring. So for people to say that it is not happening for them. It is happening for others. So it is not to say the statement that it is not occurring is a misstatement. It is occurring for some. It is not occurring for the whole. So, and this is why when we tell people that it is happening now in other parts of Terra Christa, that is exactly what is taking place. It is happening for others. It just hasn't reached your vicinity as of yet. So do not continue to say it is not happening, because other people have already exchanged. Even what is called your president, Trump, has done his exchange shortly after his inauguration. So for you to say that it is not happening is a untruth. So please stop saying that. Just say it is not happening presently for you. And but it is going to occur for you as it progresses. And of course, Source has come down, and yes, and Source statement to Prime Creator was to cease of giving approximations of time. So that's what we will do.
So that means that you are not going to give us an approximate time as to when this is finally going to come to full fruition for all of us?
We are not allowed to. By order of source. So it is happening elsewhere in the world of finance. It is happening in what is called Switzerland. It is happening in what is called other financial locations throughout the world, and it just simply has not reached your understanding, or has not reached your your bank account. But it will indeed reach your bank account, just like the Saint Germain Trust. That is another blessing, additional blessing that will be coming forth. And that would be one that would be, what is the term? Actually, in actuality, entering your bank account. Your bank account blessing will come after your exchange. Your Saint Germain blessing is going to come when Saint Germain deems it appropriate to release it. And that is all upon him. As a saying on your planet, do not crucify the messenger, as which we are, a messenger for you. And you wish to say something?
Zorra, I was wondering if I could. Oh, I got to move, so we don't have it.
Feedback, and we do not hear you. Are you on mute?
Thank you, Zorra. Since we are on the topic of the RV and Trump, etc., if I can just ask a few questions in regards to the current affairs of the world presently. So if we can backtrack a little bit, since we now have what is that word from source that it is not advisable to tell people when it's going to occur. It would be my understanding that it is time for people just to let go and let everything kind of flow accordingly to the divine plan. And however,
indeed,
what we can do is just to continue to send forth the intention that it is here and still be prepared. You still have, be prepared for sure, because it is happening, as you say, correct?
It is indeed. It is indeed happening elsewhere in the world. It's just simply not in the understanding of those that are involved in the currency or that have invested in the currencies. And it is frustrating for them, and we understand this.
So from your point of view, Zorra, what is still kind of what you see out there that is not in place yet for this to happen? Can you just give us a bit of information there? Because you see everything in terms of what is not in place yet for this to unfold.
Well, there again, as I have said before, it is unfolding. It is just unfolding at a slower understanding than what you. I understand that three-dimensional beings, they want it yesterday. or they want it today, or they want it immediately in their understanding, in the 3D understanding. They want it now. And I understand this. I understand the frustration. I observe it. I see it. And
I guess my question, Zorra, what
yes.
is it that we are not? What are we not seeing? That is, which is why it hasn't fully unfolded. What are we not seeing, but you can see?
The understanding of what is called your blessing is not being held up. It is simply moving at a very slow rate of momentum. There are many things that are being thrown into the mix, so to speak, that is causing disruptions, that is causing what you term your computer glitches and things of this nature. And that is what is transpiring presently, that people are doing what is termed, organizations are doing what is termed as throwing monkey wrench into the works to foul things up. So they must work around this. They must eliminate that wrench again and to realign the system. So every time they throw something into the mix, it causes a disruption. It causes a delay, or something of this nature. And it is not just like your fires that you're having. They put one fire out, and another flares up elsewhere. There's all of this, what is called beings that want to see these flames, want to see this happen. And so they put out one section of fire, and then in another section, another flares up. It is the same with the RV. When one problem has been rectified, another flares up. And so it is like a ongoing, what is called teasing, if you will, of the blessing being put off or delayed, and it is not anyone's fault as a whole, but it is the understanding is that we must continue to be diligent and to not allow these issues to impact us. And if you allow this to occur, then of course you get more frustrated, you get more angry, which is understandable, of course, and we understand this as well, and we've been observing it as well. And we implore what is called Prime Creator and Source to make an intervene, if you will, into the issue, and just to bring it forth and to eliminate all these what is called these flare-ups from happening, a prevention, if you will, sort of like you put a fire break up to stop a fire. We need to do the same thing with this rollout to not to allow it to continue to move. We must remove what is called the brakes, and so this is what is occurring presently. So do not lose your understanding and knowing that this is occurring. Just allow events to play out in the divine plan order, and let it come forth in its own existence. I will not say time, because time is a no thing. Even though this is something that you always base your understanding of events, you always put a time in it. And everyone seems to be caught up in time. And we keep emphasizing, do not be caught up in time, because time will trip you up every time. Do not allow that to occur. Simply put it off to the side. Go about your lives, your daily business, and things of this nature, knowing that it is happening, but just hasn't reached your what's it called, announcement yet. And you will receive the announcement, I can assure you. The organizations, the private, what is called the internet groups, will receive their announcements, just as the private individuals have received theirs and have gone in and done their exchanges. So, just because it is not in your understanding, in your reality, in your space, do not continue saying it is not happening, because that is putting a fire block up that we must continue to remove. You understand?
Indeed. A couple more things, Zorra.
Indeed.
Let me see. Maybe three things. So going back to the quantum financial system, is that taking over? Is that what will be taking over the Federal Reserve and the IRS then?
Of course, that is part of the what is called the elimination of the IRS and the other three-letter organizations. It is going to replace the IRS. It's going to replace the monetary system. Anyway, so got a bit of a giggle in my throat here.
Oh, do you have something to drink? Or Zorra's body?
Indeed, I do. I'm drinking now.
Okay, very good. Another question is that we have the gold-backed dollars already that have been released in the United States. Is that true also?
They are being released, yes, to the financial institutions. And there's also a release time for that as well. To come forth.
And then as far as the 800 numbers, that will also occur when it's time. Is that true?
When you receive your announcement in email or by, of course, it would be by email. And once you receive that, then of course your waiting will be over.
Well, it won't be email for everyone, 800 numbers or
whatever.
No,
it will not. No, because some people do not have what you call computers.
Well, I see.
There are many that are involved in this that do not have the means to receive 800 numbers, emails, as you term it. But of course, everyone will, whatever form of communications that will be used to bring forth the announcement. that will be forever for all those involved.
Okay. And then lastly, Zorra, lots of news in regards to the arrest, and that would include the Pope of the Vatican, because he's being accused of, the cover-ups for the pedophiles, and perhaps maybe that the Pope also has been involved in being a pedophile. Could you give us some insight, and we would appreciate your comments on that. And then I'd like also to talk a little bit about Trump. So in regards to the Pope, what is going on with the church and the pedophile and Pope Francis?
Understand, whenever something comes that is good, there's always going to be someone to try and prove otherwise, or to do what is trying to, as I have said before, to throw something into the mix. And that is the case with the Pope. Things are being thrown into the mix that is, accusations upon him that is not warranted, nor is it real, nor is it a reality. Slander is a very powerful thing, and it can ruin someone's existence and put hindrances into the way. Understand the pedophiliation of the Catholic Church has been going on for eons of time, and that was an accepted practice back in the earlier church for the what is the term? For the higher ups, I guess they are so termed.
Yes.
To what is the term? Entertain themselves. But it is a very, very dark area and spoke of in the church until it was exposed. And of course, they are trying to pull Francis into this, Pope Francis, into it, into accusations that cannot be proven. And the witnesses that are coming forth are planted witnesses. They are being proven impostor or in untruth. So, is Pope Francis mixed into the pedophilia? No, he is not. Understand, he came to America to straighten out a mess. And his words of wisdom and his message was received by those of authority. And of course, that began a massive investigation into the secret societies that are located within the government and within the American government, within the House of Royalty in London, and also in other parts of the world, in which people who have of high importance, and it opened up what is the term? It opened up a can of worms, and I think that's the one they use on the surface. And so it is causing much confusion, much hurt, much what is called crucifixion of the Pope and things of this nature. And other popes were involved in the pedophilia, but Pope Francis is not one of them.
Thank you, Zorra. So at least all of that is being exposed to be able to remove the dark energies, remove the energies that have been a part of the Catholic Church, to get it out and to be able to, get the ones that have been destructive and causing and doing these heinous crimes, that's heinous, for children, etc., out into the picture, so we can
understand the witnesses that have come out of the woodwork, so to speak, were paid by the cabal to lie under oath about the Pope, and they were paid handsomely to do this, to discredit the Pope. So, and this is also being exposed as the trial continues on. More and more, they have discovered that the witnesses have proven to be false, and the Pope will be completely exonerated
as well. So, and for everyone's sake, just for their knowing, people especially that are new, Pope Francis, he is the incarnation of is that Saint Germain?
Go ahead.
Or it is Saint Germain? Is he not?
Indeed.
Thank you.
He is indeed.
Okay. All right. And then lastly, Zorra, before we bring in our two wonderful first guests, is what about Trump? What is going on with Trump? And is he going to be reelected or not? I know you've already spoken about that, but if we could just go a little bit further into Donald Trump and John McCain. John McCain and Donald Trump. He was the one Trump raised. He went and when John McCain, ascended, he then the flag, the United States flag went half mast, which is what we always do, and then immediately at midnight it went right back up. So it's telling us a couple of things. So if you could just elaborate on that a little bit, and then we'll go forward with our guests.
It has never seen, what is it called? Trump has never seen eye to eye with McCain, ever. And also Trump never did, what is the term? He didn't like McCain because he was so, what is called, aggressive in politics. And but also, he also did not trust McCain either. McCain was a pawn in the realm of the cabal, and he was a pawn being used by the cabal. And so he was causing much disruption in government. And when Trump office, there was much arguing between the two. So when Trump took the bold step to raise the flag back up to a full stature, he was sending a message to the peoples that were in charge of the pawn known as McCain, and sending them a message saying that I do not respect you, I do not agree with your system. He was sending a message. And, of course, it was an outrage in what is called the public. about the flag being put up to full mast again. And then, of course, Trump had to do what is termed as to appease those in the time limit for a flag to be at half mast. So he had to what is called relinquish that, to take the flag back down to a half mast status, because he was getting much flack, I think the term is called, from other constituents in government in regards to McCain. But do not mistake, McCain was cabal.
Okay. Lastly, Zorra, so now that he has ascended, I guess a lot of people would like to know, is he in full fifth or is he taken to someplace else at this point?
He is simply on the sister world on the far side of your sun.
And the reason being?
He is not awakened.
Okay. All right. But he is safe and he is in in a good place where he can continue to evolve. Is that correct?
Of course. Everyone there will continue to evolve until they reach their status of full fifth.
Thank you, Zorra. Well, it's 10:01 already, and I know we would love to continue this conversation and these questions. However, we have a couple of people that are excited and would like to be able to have a couple of words with us. And
I will relinquish the floor to the guests.
Thank you, Zorra. Okay, we'll talk with Zorra again a little bit later. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and bring forth our two special guests, first two special guests, and one is Daphne Begg, who has been our wonderful help, a wonderful liaison, communicator with us in regards to the age pill and regards to all the positive things that she sends our way. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her in, and then she's going to introduce our wonderful guest that we missed the last time, and that is Dr. Jerry Shaw. So let me go ahead and bring Daphne through, and just give me a second here, and we'll bring her in. Okay, all right. In fact, I'm going to bring both of them in, but I will have Daphne speak first. Okay, here we go. And we'll get Daphne in. This will just be a very short call with both of them.
Hello, hello.
Hi there, Daphne. Welcome.
I've been on your call. Thank you so kindly, Jane, and to Zorra for relinquishing the floor.
Let me go ahead and bring Dr. Shaw in as well, so we can begin this part of the call.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with us, and we'll go ahead and bring Dr. Jerry Shaw now. Indeed. And if you wish, we all know who you are. If you would like to say a few words as I bring Dr. Jerry Shaw in. Let me see if I've got that. Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm using that number that you gave me, so hopefully we'll get a call. Oh, here we go. Let's see.
Oh dear. Oh my. Otherwise we can try the other number.
Oh no, here we have. Hi.
Yes, there you are.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hang on just a second. Hang on just a second, guys. Hang on just a second.
Okay. All right.
I would just say there. just for a little joy and a joke there, this is really indicative of what's happening with Dr. Shaw's life just recently.
It's a bit
beautifully
crazy, no doubt. It's a bit crazy right now, but that's all good. I'm a little crazy myself, so that's okay.
And joyfully so. Is that not true, Dr. Shaw? Joyfully so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely joyfully so.
Jane, would you like me just to give a quick introduction to you, Dr. Shaw, very briefly? And it's a privilege to be on your call as always, Jane and Billy and Zorra, Zorea, Quasar. And thank you, Zorra, for your wonderful, wise words this morning. It's a privilege for me to be here, very joyful, as I say, to be here with Dr. Shaw this morning. And just briefly to introduce Dr. Shaw to so many of you out there around the world that haven't had the chance to meet him yet. We know Dr. Shaw as I would say first and foremost, Dr. Shaw as a true friend, cohort, teammate, a person who really loves to support people and build a strong team, who's been looking for the brilliant situation in which to do this for many, many people. And thank you to your discernment, Dr. Shaw, you found it. And anybody who's on this call today, I would say, actually, very, very fortunate. And Dr. Shaw is a true expert for 38 plus years in the field of nutrition. He's extremely fastidious about nutrition and ingredients and the combination of that. And he's been a tremendously highly regarded leader in different companies and a consultant for different companies for their comp plans. But, you know, Dr. Shaw, you've said to me and also to Jane and Billy here, it is so rare to find this situation. And I would also just like to say it is so rare to find a teammate and friend and cohort such as you. So we're very excited to have you here with us today. Thank you very much. Take it away, Dr. Shaw.
Thank you, Daphne, and thank you for being here as well, and really appreciate that introduction. That was awesome, and I'll build on that in a moment. But I want to thank everyone for being here, especially Jane and Billy. You guys are just amazing people, and Daphne mentioned the word brilliance. I see you guys as a light in this world, and I really appreciate that and gravitate toward that. And even this company, Kayani, which literally translates into strong medicine, but more loosely translated into just strength. I see Kayani being as a brilliant light in this world, giving a solution that we so desperately need in this world, because everyone, virtually everyone, is deficient in some aspect, dietary-wise, because our farmlands just are not capable of supplying the nutrition that they once were. So our ancestors had the good fortune to actually get nutrients from soils that were full of vibrancy and full of life, and we have pulled the life out of those soils, literally. And we needed Kayani to come along, putting all of the super foods together. And it all started with the wild Alaskan blueberry, which the anthropologists studying the Inuit people in the Arctic Circle were noting how terrible their diet was, and yet in their language there was no word for cancer, no word for heart disease, no word for mental disorder, no word for diabetes. So they didn't get these diseases, and yet their diet wasn't remarkable, but they did eat this wild Alaskan blueberry consistently. So they brought it back to the laboratory, and it just so happened it just blew off the charts. The most powerful antioxidant ever found. It had phytonutrients yet unknown. So that was the beginning. And because the families that this knowledge fell into, were very successful in the business world, both billionaire families, they'd achieved everything in the physical world that they needed. They were very comfortable families, but what they lacked was a legacy. What they wanted was something they could give back to the world. And they saw this opportunity to give back this knowledge of this amazing plant. And they called in a scientific advisory board. And I love this part because even though they're very successful in business, they understand there's things they don't know. Like in this arena of superfoods, they didn't understand it, so they called in scientific advisors. Well, fortunately, they called in people that were on cutting edge, and probably they sought those people out. In fact, one of the board members knew of a special plant in South America that had a substance called tocotrienols that's comparable to tocopherols, vitamin E, but tocotrienols just happen to be 20 times more effective than the tocopherols. So it's these super foods that they began to put together and put them all together in a very simple format so we could take the water-soluble ones in the morning, which include the wild Alaskan blueberry as the mainstay, along with goji berry, acai, amla, aronia, ginseng, astragalus, super greens, pomegranate, red raspberry, the things that we regard as synergistically creating this amazing bounty of nutrients, water-soluble. And then in the evening, the tocotrienol product from that plant in South America is combined with beta-carotenes and omegas and all naturally sourced and super high quality control, because this company has the money to do it right. And it's more about legacy than it is about lining their pockets. They have a cash flow, an extraordinary cash flow from other business arenas. So here it's about legacy. So what do you do when you're creating a legacy? You do the best, because that's what you're going to be known for. So that's what we are. We are part of a legacy for great people bringing a great message to the world, solving a problem that the world has right now. Everyone is deficient, and we can eradicate that. So the sunrise in the morning, sunset in the evening, and then to top it all off, I love this. They have the formula for a nitric oxide product that's called Nitro, and they have Nitro Extreme that they've enhanced. That goes back to the ancient Polynesians and them handing that formula over to a man named Dr. Mitchell Tate. And Dr. Mitchell Tate's neighbor was a man named Cariace, who started the company Morinda, which became Tahitian noni juice, which created hundreds of millionaires and became $1 billion company because it had a little bit of the noni fruit mixed with some other fruits. Cariace misunderstood the message that Dr. Tate had. And of course, Dr. Tate didn't unveil the recipe. The Polynesians use the whole plant. They don't just use the fruit. In fact, they regard the leaf as the most potent part of the plant. So the leaf is the primary ingredient, a little bit of the fruit, a little bit of the bark, a little bit of the root, the whole plant. That's what gives it its magic, is the whole plant. And that allows for something very special that they've known for thousands of years. They didn't know about nitric oxide because that was discovered in 1998 by 3 scientists, and how amazing it is and how necessary it is for life. And they won the Nobel Prize in 1998 for that discovery. But since then, there's been 40,000 published studies about nitric oxide because of how amazing it is. Well, we've got the premier pathway to nitric oxide with the whole noni plant that's withstood the test of time for thousands of years of benefit. The Polynesians regarded it as pure magic. Now we know why. With 40,000 published studies, every cell of our body needs it, every tissue, every organ. Of course, it's become popular because of athletic performance, sexual performance, but actually performance on all levels, performance in every cell, which is what you want, is for your cells to continue to perform at their highest place. And we've got the premier pathway. Because of those 40,000 published studies, there's a number of nitric oxide products that came into the marketplace, but they're all in one way or another faulty pathways because they go through the gut. This one actually is absorbed right in the mouth. It's complete because it's the whole noni plant. It has all of the factors to create this perfect pathway into this amazing molecule. And these others have used this scientific formula, like using L-arginine or L-citrulline or a combination of a couple of amino acids. It's certainly not whole plant-based, and it's certainly not absorbed through the mucosa of the mouth, so it goes through changes in the process of digestion. We've got the preferred pathway that 40,000 published studies have revealed is amazing for us, and literally once people find out about it, everybody's going to want it. But at the same time, with sunrise and sunset, the nutrition is met, the deficiencies are covered, And the nitric oxide is just the icing on the cake and makes even the nutrients more accessible by our body. So what a great message. Now, the final note is because the company is debt-free, because the company is owned by billionaires, because they are generous people and they're creating a legacy, they've given us an opportunity beyond compare. And I could go on about that, but that is exciting because I see in the world today, almost everyone you speak to, they're struggling financially. Well, we have a true business opportunity that you can share. Even the owners of this company regard us as business partners. I've never heard that before, but more importantly, I've never felt it before. The owner of the company called me last night. Here's a billionaire person that's obviously very busy, extremely, 60 countries around the world, calls me, one of the minions. That is an amazing individual and took the time to do that around 7 o'clock my time, so his time too, their mountain time. So we have a great company, a great message, and we can really, truly help a lot of people, and that's why the brilliance and why I picked up on that word from Daphne. So thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Jane and Billy. Thank you, everyone that's on this call today. You're greatly appreciated, and hopefully I've inspired you to look a little bit deeper into what's happening here because you won't be sorry if you do. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Jerry, very, very much. That's the tip of the iceberg, everyone.
Excuse me, Dr. Shaw, this is Jane.
Yes, Jane.
We have taken your advice many months ago, and almost everyone that's on this call is probably on the age pill, which is a stem cell technology product, which we all have derived great benefits from. So if you can, somehow tell us what is the difference? Why would we want to go now to another product when we have a stem cell technology like the age pill? And then that would would help a lot of people out.
That's a great question, Jane. I'm really glad you brought that up. The age pill, that product has tremendous merit. That's one of the great products ever developed. And the efficacy of the age pill is based on its catalytic effect. It actually does have an activating effect on stem cells, which we all need. And it does have a catalytic effect on the cell, getting the cell to function at a higher level. We all need that. But how I regard the age pill now that I've found Kyani, is the age pill is like a match. And it's great to have a match when you need a fire. But what else do you need when you want a fire? You need fuel. So the perfect fuel, the perfect combination would be obviously the age pill and the Kyani product line. And for people that are able to do that, wow, it's amazing because you're adding the perfect fuel to the perfect match. And you have this great internal fire, and we all need that.
Beautifully said. Okay. And then from your point of view...
I could have gone into the science. But the science would take a while. So that's kind of the overview, what I see.
Okay, so just real quickly then, understanding, from what my own personal investigation in regards to the sunrise, for example, the sunrise itself is a superfoods put all into a little packet. And I've noticed as well when I was reading that it has an auric level of almost 40,000 versus what is required on a daily basis, which I think is like about 7,500 per day. So does that, because it's such a superfood, that also works almost in terms of synonymously with working with the stem cells anyways, correct?
Oh, absolutely. For the stem cells to maintain their activity and for every cell of our body to maintain its strength, we, especially at this time in our development on this planet, we need these superfoods. It's almost impossible for us to maintain the integrity of the cells in that to the level that we need right now, because we need, as participants on this planet right now, especially Jane and Billy, you understand, because you guys are high-level participants. We need the magnification of what is normal. Like you said, the normal ORAC score on a daily basis, 7,500, and this is 40,000, especially during these times. And when you regard how fast things are moving on the planet today, when you regard the environmental disasters that are happening all around us, we need that extra, truly, to maintain our edge. So, yes, it's important.
Okay.
This is very important, and it's a message we need to take to the world, for sure.
Okay. Daphne, I think I'm going to ask Daphne to come in and see if she has any other questions, maybe to just ask you for the population.
Thank you, Jane. Hi, Jane. Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. I would have asked similarly like you for Dr. Shaw, just to elucidate a little bit about that, the whole catalytic effect of the H pill, and then that sort of very, very deep cellular level nutrition. He's pretty much said it. I think that's something for people to understand in your group. So it's highly, highly complementary. Wouldn't you say, Dr. Shaw? It's really one highlights the other. And if people can really reach out and have both of those going at the same time, that would be optimal, would it not, Dr. Shaw?
It would be optimal, and we are fortunate to have been led on a path. And it's perfect that you find the catalyst first, because many of us needed that catalyst to awaken ourselves on certain levels. And at some point, you're going to find that to make further progress and gain further benefit, you actually need the fuel. It's like you started this great fire, and you can see the fire just beginning to dim a little bit. It's time to fuel that fire. Well, we've got the fuel. So it's the perfect combination.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Shaw.
Absolutely. I'm really honored to be here, and call on me anytime. And I apologize, I'm running at breakneck speed because the word is getting out, and people are calling me constantly. And I just had a call that came in about 20 minutes ago that I was on, that I was watching the clock, and you know, when you get focused and you're talking to these people and they're excited, the time went by so fast, and all of a sudden I saw your call, and it's like, I can't believe I was on another call. But that's just the way it is. And when Daphne said that's my life right now, she was totally right. But you know what? It's fun. It's exciting. We're affecting the world in a really important way. So thank you, and I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on our call, Dr. Shaw. And you, of course, Daphne, we love you, and we thank you also for both of you for bringing this to our attention. We will move forward with this. I will have our new website on the next newsletter and also on our regular website. Thank you both. You are tremendous. We love you. Thank you for all the help, information, and just the energy, the positivity in terms of bringing this all to us. So have yourself a wondrous day. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
It is a joy.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Zorra, do you have anything else you would like to say at this point?
Would any of the peoples out there have questions for Dr. Jerry Shaw?
Oh, well, you know what? Our line is already full Zorra, so I'm sure we'll catch up with both of them again, and we'll probably have a regular conference call. Okay, maybe next week, Dr. Shaw, if that's possible, and Daphne.
Yes, I would love to continue this, and even if we wanted to have a format where people email you questions and do it that way. So however you want to handle it.
Okay.
Just let me know.
Thanks, Dr. Shaw. Okay, we'll let you go.
Thank you.
Okay, Daphne as
well.
well.
Have a great day.
I go ahead.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Love and light, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Daphne.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. So now we are back on track, everyone. And now we're going to be bringing in another very special individual. Now this is on a whole different tangent. And I'm going to have Zorra perhaps maybe introduce him as I bring him into this call. So let me see. Zorra?
Indeed.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring Michael in so he can come and speak. And I will go ahead and let you introduce Michael, if you will. Thank you.
Indeed. Michael Laparia happened to be an individual that was in the Navy, and he was present on the USS Coral Sea, which is an aircraft carrier of your Navy, and he was present when our delegation from the Galactic Federation of Planets landed on the deck of the USS Coral Sea. So we are going to let him give his story of this, his account of being present and seeing the delegates from the Galactic Federation, as well as myself. And he actually saw me in my physical form. Do not hear any of you.
Okay, here we go, Zorra. We have Michael on the phone now.
Indeed.
Indeed. Blessings to you and spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and revelations.
All right. You are on the call now with on the Blog Talk Show with everyone listening, along with Zorra. So I'll give both of you the floor.
Super. I was, to tell a little bit about myself, my name's Michael Lapalia, and I was a hospital corpsman in the Navy, a combat hospital corpsman, and during the time period of 1968 to 1969, I was stationed on board the USS Coral Sea, CD-843, which is an aircraft carrier. And during that time period, we had some interesting things happen on the carriers. We had a discoid ship land on the USS Coral Sea forward of the what they call the island, which is on the starboard side of the ship by the forward elevator. And the ship that landed was, from what I understand, they were Nordic. They had blonde hair, except for one. It had bluish skin. And what we did in the medical department, our ship was the flagship. And so we had admirals, generals, the high brass of the Navy and Army and Marine Corps on board. And we would do physicals on them. And they would depart, go into the discoid ship and leave, and of course come back quite a few hours later. But from what I understood during that time period, this happened several times, but during that time period, they were trying to help us get a space fleet together. And I think that's what the beginnings of the solar warfare program was about. And you can look it up on the internet, on YouTube, and look for USS Coral Sea, and it's CD-843. That's the number of the ship, and it'll if you put the Coral Sea and UFO, the picture should come up, and it'll show the picture of a UFO sitting on board the USS Coral Sea. And the reason they did that out at sea like that, especially in the Tonkin Gulf, was that no one else no one else would see it. Everyone would go to general quarters, and they wouldn't allow anybody on the flight deck or anything. And so the discoid ships were easily landed. The crew would come out of the ships and meet the brass on board, and then they together, after we did the physicals on the brass, would go and get in the ship. So it's interesting that's approximately 50 years ago, but I really believe it's important that those of us that are retired military need to step out and share our stories that there really is space beings there, and they really have our best interest in mind. And also along with that, the fact of, yes, there is a hollow earth, and people need to know that. So, and it all comes down to expanding our consciousness. We need to forget, wipe our minds clean of what we've been taught, and start all over again and expand our consciousness to be able to accept those things. And I think that as we've been programmed through our lives with mind control and so forth, it puts us in a position where the majority of people won't receive it because of mind control. So my suggestion is that you turn inward to yourself, to the knowing within you, and you'll get the need. That every one of us on is our conscious level.
Indeed. And what did you think when you saw the turquoise-colored skin being looking directly at you? Hello?
I wonder whether or not we have lost him. Yes, we. Oh, hold on 1 second. Here he comes. All right. Here we go, everybody. And again. All right. Michael, you are there, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think the question that Zorra had was, what did you think? Oh, Zorra, you're here now. So, and Michael is here. We did lose him here temporarily. Okay. Go ahead, Zorra, if you can ask that question again for Michael. Of Michael.
Do you have any questions for me?
Indeed. What did you think when the turquoise-green-colored skin being looked directly at you?
Yes. I was rather taken back by that. But what I felt was I felt a love and a concern for us that was beyond comprehension. That's what I felt. I felt that they were really concerned about us, and they wanted us to advance, to be more than what we are, because we've been so lied to and mind controlled all our lives, and they really want us to see us advance and become fifth-dimensional beings, fourth and fifth-dimensional beings. And to be a fully conscious human being, knowing the God within us, that we have power of telepathy, that we have power of telekinetics, we have unlimited abilities, and we need to draw on the knowing within us. And it's very subtle. It's not something that's very loud or anything like that within your consciousness. It's very subtle, but
right.
you'll begin to know more and more as you draw on that.
I have a question, Michael.
Indeed.
Certainly.
So when you saw, now the first time you saw a ship come on your carrier, could you just explain visibly what it looked like, what color was it, how big was it, and then explain also about what you saw. How did you see? What did these beings that were Nordic in appearance, what did they look like? What did they wear? Did they look like us, or etc.? So first the ship and then the beings, if you will.
Okay, certainly. The ship itself, when you looked at it, it was glass looking. It was black and glass looking, and the legs that came out that supported it when it sat down were more kind of like of a silver color. And when the ship came in, you couldn't see it coming in. It just all of a sudden it was there. That's the only way I know how to explain it. You could look for it and you wouldn't see it, and then you would look again and then there it was. And then the beings would come out from underneath it, and they had brown. It was like brown jumpsuits and blonde hair, being of a bluish greeny skin that was a little taller than them, and they came into what is called the island on the carrier, and there's what they call a battle dressing station number 7 that's there, and so they look like models. They look like models out of the magazine. I don't know, they do. And the lady that was with them, you have here we are, out at sea. She looked like a model. And and the men did too, like in the Sears and Roebuck catalog. And they were they weren't, all serious, in their demeanor. They were more caring and loving and somewhat jovial. They have a sense of humor. That's wonderful. I like their sense of humor.
Did you get a chance to talk with any of them?
Just briefly, and it was just basically just small talk, because we weren't allowed to ask any questions about the ship or them or anything. We just would cordially greet them. You ask them, well, how are you today? And that kind of a thing. And it's very small talk. But the brass, the captains, the admirals, the generals, were in conversation with them as we did the physicals. We didn't do the physicals on the extraterrestrials. We did them on the admirals, the captains, and the generals. Mm-hmm. Actually, Westmoreland was one of them.
Really?
Was there? Yes.
Wow.
General Westmoreland.
So the president was knowledgeable about this. Is that correct? Who was the president then? And he was knowledgeable about all of this, apparently, huh?
Well, yeah. And there's one other, Admiral Zumwalt during that time period was there. Mm-hmm. So Admiral Zumwalt during that time period, that was 68 to 69 when this was happening on board the Coral Sea. And
the president was knowledgeable about this?
Oh, absolutely.
And that was President, what president was then?
That was Nixon.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Speaking of President Nixon, did you folks ever hear the story about President Nixon taking Jackie Gleason out to, I think it was Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to view some of the extraterrestrials that they had in glass canisters? Have you ever heard that?
No, but I'm sure our audience would love to be able to hear that story.
Yeah. So there is so much that's hidden from the public eye, and I think that those of us that have had the military experience certainly have a better view of things and a wider scope of what's really going on. And a lot of this during that time period, we weren't allowed to, even talk about flying saucers. It's that was taboo. You didn't say that. If we saw one, it was called an enemy helicopter. That's what they called it.
Really?
Yeah. And during the Vietnam War, there was sighting after sighting, and being out at sea, gee whiz, I don't think there was a day that went by that we didn't get some type of view of one. So they were really active during the Vietnam War.
Oh, you were going to tell us a story, by the way. I just wanted to make sure that we get back on your story also, besides Vietnam War.
You have
okay.
to keep me on track here. You have to keep me on track. But the one with Nixon, he was president during that time period. He was well aware of the extraterrestrials and what was happening during that time period. And so that being said, there's a lot more that the intelligence community and the presidents and staff know than what they would, talk about. But I thought it was kind of humorous, the one about Jackie Gleason, because Nixon went and picked him up in his private car and went to the base unannounced, and they saw it was President Nixon. They waved him. Of course, they waved him through, and he took Jackie Gleason to the lower levels there to show him actually one of the ships and the extraterrestrials that were not stasis, but that they had captured from the crashes. So, and sometimes I wonder about the crashes. Sometimes I think that they've shot them down is what I think happened. But be that as it may, there's a lot that the common public needs to know, and they would probably ask, why do we need to know that? Because it's extremely important. It's the technology that's been hidden from us, and also the monies that have been taken from us to do these projects. And it's time for disclosure and to let people know what's really going on. And of course, go ahead.
Well, I would like to backtrack a little bit as to when you saw those beings come out of the ship, and I know that you were not privy to all of that information, but your generals and whoever else was there, they had to tell you a little bit about what the purpose was in regards to their coming back and forth.
Well, the whole essence of what my understanding of it was to help us build a space fleet. And,
a space league.
And there's a gentleman by the name of William Tompkins.
Yes.
And, this was 50 years ago, but anyway, he was involved in the program of being able to have the breakthroughs with the I think it's called electromagnetic gravitic propulsion is what they started off with.
Okay.
And he was involved in designing the ships that we have for Solar Warden. And there's 8 motherships, and they have 300-foot triangle ships and 600-foot triangle ships. So it's without getting too far off the subject again, let me come back.
So are these back-engineered vehicles, ships then?
Say that again, Dave.
Are
sorry.
they back-engineered?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Tompkins took all that information because then he had communications with a number of the galactics then, huh?
Yes. William Tompkins wrote a book. It's called, if I remember correctly, I think it's called Chosen by Extraterrestrials.
Okay.
And it tells his life story of how he was involved in World War II, something like in the neighborhood of 100 and some spies in Germany during that time period, and they all were involved in the higher echelons of the designing of the Honeyboo 1, 2, and 3 discoid ships that Hitler had. And there's a whole other story behind that one. But the important thing is that people need to know this information because it's important, because of the technology and the monies that have been taken from us, but also the power that these conglomerates have. The military-industrial complex has so much power that it needs to be reined in. It really needs to be reined in. And I believe with disclosure and with those of us that have served in the military and other and civilians that have worked on military bases like that, we're the ones that are going to wind up doing the disclosures, because the government's not.
Well, first of all, Michael, we would talking about disclosure, we do thank you very much for coming forth, because maybe you could express, you could tell the audience as well about your, there was a fear as well in terms of coming out, and lots of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah.
From your point of view. Sure.
From what I've experienced in the military, and then I was in 2 branches of the service at the same time. Not only was I in the Navy, but during that time period, they took the Navy hospital corpsmen and sent them to Camp Pendleton, to what they call Field Medical Service School. And that your naval enlistment code then is 8404. So you do everything the Marines do, on the weapons side. On the medical side, you learn to call in medevacs, set up triage hospitals, all those kinds of things, and especially map and compass training. I think Zorra will relate to that one. But the important thing, again, is those of us that have experienced these things need to share them. And what concerned me more than anything else was, of course, they have documents that you sign and all that. But one of the things they do, they can take your pension away. That would hurt. There's all kinds of things that they could do. If they don't want you talking, they'll certainly let you know. But I believe at this point in time, there's 50 years has gone by, and a lot of this is known knowledge, and it's up to each individual to do the research. That's what I have done, and it doesn't take long before you realize that these individuals that have written books and that are speaking out are telling the truth of what's really going on. And so, yeah, the government's got a big hand. And if they don't like what you're saying, they'll let you know.
I think Billy and Zorra know about that as well. Zorra,
yes.
do you have some? Would you like to come in and just have a chit chat with Michael on the call in regards to what you've seen and experienced as far as what he has seen? Zorra? Zorra, we can't hear you.
I can also concur with what I can also concur with what he's saying. And you hear me now?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Zorra.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes. I can concur with what he's saying, of course. And I also want you to tell them when on USS Coral Sea, when you were examining the officers, the one with the turquoise green skin came up to you.
Yes.
And put his hands upon your shoulders. And what did you feel?
Great warmth and a great love.
Indeed.
And a great concern. And it was, yeah, the vibrations coming off that being were just wonderful. Wonderful.
You didn't know he was from Hollow Earth, right, Michael?
No, I didn't know that at that time period, no.
And what about the other beings? Did you know where they were coming from at all?
As far as I know, they were, the nickname for them were called the Nordics because they looked Swedish looking, with blonde hair and fair skin. And
they were Pleiadian.
I think that, say again?
They were Pleiadian.
That makes sense. That's
Indeed.
One of the William Tompkins was mentioning that when he was at Lockheed Martin, they actually had I call them the Nordics, but it was the Pleiadians then, and it was two ladies that were secretaries there that were using telepathy for William Tompkins and to be able to design the ships and the power plant for them. Of course, it was reverse alien technology, but there was a breakthrough with the mathematics, and that's what was the big the biggest breakthrough was the mathematics and the breakthrough with anti-gravity. I'll have to get you a copy of William Tompkins' book.
Michael, talking about
yes.
William Tompkins' book, can you spell his last name for us? For the audience?
Sure. It's Tompkins.
Yeah, so it's Tomp as in Paul, Kins, William.
Yes.
Right. And even if you Google it on YouTube, you'll have, a number of videos, and you'll be able to see him and examples also of his talking, not example, but you'll see him talking and experiences with the so-called the Pleiadians as well. So good thing for everyone to be able to again, move in the direction of increasing your knowledge. So,
absolutely.
Okay. We have only about a half an hour, a half an hour left. And Michael, I guess my question, and Zorra as well, in regards to Michael coming out with his disclosure and, supporting and acknowledging and confirming information already that many of us have heard of, but now here is true confirmation that we have the galactics. I guess my question now is, presently, Michael, what do you know of as far as the disclosure coming about, and what else are you seeing presently, in your connections, obviously, with the Navy and present situations with disclosure?
I'm actually having men and women that I have served with that I hadn't heard from in 45, 50 years, and calling me and asking me what I thought about them telling their story. And at first, I was very reluctant, and then I began to realize that if we don't do it, then who's going to do it? So then my afterthought was to call them back and say, hey, look, we need to stick together, and we need to work for this disclosure so that the American people know what's going on. That's the number one thing. And I think also with Hollow Earth, there's been so much documentation about travelers from the surface world to Hollow Earth. You can't deny that. And I really know within my heart that there's going to come a day here that we'll be able to rejoice with our brothers and sisters in Hollow Earth, that we'll be able to meet and share. And I believe that day is very close.
Thank you, Michael. Zorra,
you're welcome.
Zorra, is there anything else you would like to comment or share with us or ask of Michael? We're losing you again, Zorra.
Okay.
There you are.
I put it. I had it on mute. Anyway, I was sitting here absorbing the information coming forth, and he's right on with it, of course. And that being that you met on the USS Coral Sea was myself.
Yeah. Wow. So when do we get to go to Hollow Earth?
And describe to the peoples what my appearance looked like.
Certainly, absolutely. A bluish, greenish skin, more bluish, and I believe there must be a lot of copper in the water.
Indeed.
For the skin to be that color. But that, and then casually dressed. Let me put it that way. And
indeed,
the stature was a lot taller than the other individuals. I'd say at least a couple of feet, if not more.
Indeed. Indeed. Did I look? I look old or did I look young?
No, you look young. You look like you were like 19, 20 years old. I was 18 at the time when this was happening.
Wow.
18. Yeah, talk about baby face. Yeah. So, yeah, and I was amazed at that because, at 18, when you see somebody that's 19 or 20, they seem so much older. But yet they're within a couple years of you. Mm-hmm. So I really I didn't totally grasp what was happening during that time period, other than the fact that when you're involved with things like that, the order comes down, you keep your mouth shut. You don't talk to anybody about this stuff, and they have individuals that will watch you. You say anything, boy, they report it. So I think every one of us, especially during the war, we were in the middle of the Vietnam War, and during that time period, 1968 to 69, is when Tet Offensive happened. So there was a lot of action in Vietnam, and we were flying sorties off the carrier, every day and at night. And so the planes would leave, and a few minutes later, you'd see the sky light up from the bombs that were being dropped. And I think it's later on in life you begin to realize the devastation of war. It should never happen on this planet. And I think that's one of the great things in all of us becoming more fully conscious is that the war scenarios have to leave. They have to. We need to be a peaceful nation and to have a peaceful world.
Indeed. Thank you.
In Hollow Earth, what's it like in the Hollow Earth, Zorra?
What is it like in Hollow Earth? It is quite harmonious. It is quite harmonious. And there is no what you term chaos. There is no what is termed as conflict of any kind. And everything speaks with telepathy. Yeah. And what I mean by everything, I mean everything. The trees, the insects, the animals, the peoples, everything speaks with a telepathic communications.
And everyone in Hollow Earth is in perfect health.
Indeed they are. Those beings that you saw on the vessel, the two ones that were you termed Nordics, they were over 250,000 Earth years old.
Wow.
And they look like they were in their late teens.
Yeah, they look 19 or 20. Yeah, to me, being 18, they looked older.
Oh, indeed. Also, Michael, when you were on the vessel, how many times did you happen to see the mer people swimming alongside your ship?
That is an interesting question, and I'll tell you why. During that time period, we had what they in sick bay. Okay, in sick bays, when I was just starting out, I was enlisted, and just starting out, being a hospital corpsman and a combat medic and all that. Anyway, you get trash detail. You have to go pick the trash up, take it to the aft end of the ship, and dump the trash. And this one time I went back there to empty the trash, and the ship was making a hard port turn. In other words, if you're facing the bow of the ship, it would be turning to the left. And when it did that, it caused waves at the aft end of the ship. And I had just dumped the trash and put the trash can down, and I thought I was seeing things. And yeah, I saw what appeared to be a mermaid. And
Uh-huh.
wow.
And it was.
Well,
And it was.
Michael, what
And
do
it
you
was.
know it was a mermaid?
What we do when we see things like that, we shake our heads, and I mean, it was only for a nanosecond that I saw her, and she was gone. But I was trying to say in my own mind, did that really happen? Did I really see that? Of course I wasn't going to go back and tell the guys in sick bay, hey man, I just saw a mermaid at the aft end of the ship. That wouldn't have gone over too well.
No, it would not have. But
they would have probably just laughed at you, and, that kind of a thing. But I've heard other sailors talk about stuff like that, and
Indeed.
it just goes to show us that don't close your mind off. Keep your mind
also
open.
tell the listeners also that you had personally, but you had heard stories from other sailors of an older age, ones that were present in Pearl Harbor, and the stories they told you, which in your own understanding, you kind of rolled your eyes at them because it was unbelievable what they were telling you about breathing underwater.
I served with those guys, the World War II vets, the Korean veterans, of course, the Pearl Harbor veterans. We had a Navy chief, a hospital corpsman chief that was in Pearl Harbor. And, yeah, some of the stories, it was amazing. Some of the stories that they told about, some of the sightings that they had, and again, we have to clear our minds to be able to receive it.
All right.
And because we've been so programmed to immediately not receive it. Do you understand? You understand what I'm saying?
Of course, absolutely. Now, also, we're going to start the Q&A presently, and we want you to stay on the call in case someone has some questions for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well.
Thank you, Michael. All right. Thank you,
Before we go to wait a minute. Before we go to Q&A, we're also going to mention a wondrous author that is associated with us, and her name is Diane Robbins. And she has some books. And these books are quite educational, quite enlightening, and quite uplifting. Books in particular, the ones called Messages from the Hollow Earth, and books known as and the Trees, Tree Talk, and you have the Cetacean Nation, and you have what is termed as the call goes out to the Cetacean Nation, and you also have the ones called story about Telos, the city of Telos beneath Mount Shasta. And she's a wondrous being.
So,
She's a wondrous being in Mount Shasta.
Wow. There's
Michael, hold on.
Yes.
And the website is www.D Diane and then Robbins ROBBINS and .com. And you want to go directly to her site to order your books because she gets full benefit and profit from it if you do it that way. You can get them on Amazon, but then she only gets a very small portion of it.
Okay. Thank you, Zorra. And Michael,
Indeed.
Okay, we have to do Q&A. We only have 15 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you, because I've got you into the call, if you can, and I cannot mute you, Michael. So let me go ahead and do the Q&A. And if there's a question, you will hear it, and then you can reply to it if you will. But so let's go ahead and begin. Before we begin, so that just in case we get cut off because we only have 18 minutes left, please, for those of you that live in the Reno area, Reno, Nevada area, if you can, and if you haven't heard this before or haven't read the newsletter, please try to contact me today, if you will, or leave me a message, and my number is 719-428-9746. So, again, for those that live in this area and live locally, give me a call, 719-428-9746. And let's go ahead now with our Q&A. And thank you so much, Michael, for your wonderful sharing of this information, of disclosure from your point of view. And here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start with the bottom, and I'll go from bottom to the top of the list, which is huge. Okay, so let's go ahead and open 941 ending in 2219. You're on the air with Zorra. Hello? Oh, hold on one second. No, she doesn't have a question. Let me just go to where the questions are. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. 562 ending in 6239.
Hi, this is Cindy Taylor calling from Long Beach, California. Can you hear me?
Only one, yes, one question only. Tell us who this call is for. Just your question.
This is for Zorra. On Intel Dinar Chronicles this morning, they said that we're in DEFCON 4 and that all the satellites aren't working. And I want to know what's going on. Why is this the case? What's going on?
Understand, beloved woman, beloved goddess, that we are not going to experience what is termed as a nuclear conflict. Understand that is a no thing. It cannot be allowed and will not be allowed to occur. So do not worry about DEFCON 3 or 4 or 1 or 2 or whatever. Do not worry about it because it is a no thing. It is what you call a false flag.
Okay, Cindy.
That's pretty bad. That's it. Intel Dinar Chronicles.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to put her back on mute. So why do we have that? Why is there a DEFCON message out there anyway, Zorra? What's the purpose of it?
It is to bring fear. Yes, go ahead.
That's exactly it.
Okay. Okay, Michael. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I can't have both of you talking at once. So, Zorra, it's a clear thing. Michael concurs. Okay, thank you. Next question is 208 ending in 8394. This you're on the air. 8394. Tell us who this call is for. Is this for Zorra or for Michael? You're on the air.
Okay, this is for Zorra, and this is Pawnee from Idaho. And I would like to know, Jared was talking about the harmful blue lights that we receive when we're looking at the computer and the cell phones. And he said that there were special glasses that we would be able to purchase. Do you know where you can find those glasses, or is there a concern?
And what is concerned about what is called your blue light effect? If you simply do what is termed as to rub your hands together, and you put one on the right side of your computer, and you make the purification technique of the other hand and bring it down on the left side of your computer or telephone, you will eliminate that effect completely.
Is that a Zorra?
Yes. And if you have a headband, you may wear that. That will also cancel out the EMF wave. And if you have what is called devices that you can purchase that will you can put on the back of your computer, that will also eliminate that issue as well.
Thank you, Connie.
Okay, thank you very much. I had forgotten about the healing technique, and because I can do that, and I have my headband. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Indeed.
All right, Connie. All right. The other thing I want to mention to people as well. Oh, I've got to put her on. Okay, there we go. Is you can also go to Helping to Rise, Rise at gmail.com or helpingtorise.com, and you can go to Christine Light's website and purchase some of the products that she has there to help to eliminate EMF. Okay? All right. So our next caller now, going back to the end of the line here, our next caller is, I hope this is, I got to write a list. I think we've already done, Zorra, did we do 407-1530 or no?
I do not think so.
Hello, 407 ending in 1530.
Hi, this is Gloria down in Florida.
Oh, Gloria.
Indeed.
Gloria. Yes.
Beloved goddess.
Hey, what I wanted to ask you about
Thank you.
Yes, the previous caller, she was talking about that light. What about the plug? I have the plug. Would that plug help with that?
Yes, it will also eliminate the wave as well.
EMF.
Oh, okay. Good.
Thank you, Gloria.
Okay, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You too. Okay. Bye. All right. And then we have, I think I did the 208. So the next one is 916 ending in 9584.
Hello. Hi,
Yes.
this is Dr. Tom.
Give us
Dr.
your name and who this call is for, is if it's for Michael or for Zorra.
This is Dr. Tom calling from Sacramento, soon to be moving back to Reno.
Hello, Dr. Tom. Yes?
Good, how you doing? This question is for Zorra.
Okay.
And my question
Indeed.
is,
And
I'm thinking about getting a second home in Maui, and I just wanted to make sure that if I should buy, how far up on the island because of the rise of water, or will the island be completely engulfed?
The island will not be completely engulfed because it is what is called a plateau of the continent of Lemuria. So the Hawaiian Islands are somewhat safe. If you're going to get property, you want to get property on the south shore.
Okay. Great, and that would be okay on a house on the ocean. It'd be okay.
Indeed, of course, on the south side of the island.
All right. Thank you very much.
Indeed.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Tom. We'll call you later. Bye.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Very good, everyone. Okay. Our next caller now is, let me see, is 208 ending in 6612. 208 ending in 6612. You're on the air.
Okay, hello.
Yes, Al.
Can you hear me?
Tell us your name and who this. Yes. Who are you?
This
Where are
is
you calling
Zorra.
from? And is this call? Who is this?
Is this call muted? What was the last question?
No, you're on the air. What?
Yes,
yeah. Who
this
you
is
are? And who this call is for?
Zorra Rose, and I'm
Okay,
out of
Zorra.
Idaho. And this question is, this is for Zorra.
Okay.
And I was wondering about the 5G towers that are up now that are everywhere. Again, a question about what we can do to protect ourselves from them, and will they get to run very long before they're no longer in use?
Which towers are you speaking of?
The network
The
they
5G
put up
towers.
with the arrays all over, yes, the 5G towers.
That are very detrimental to us.
Indeed. Well, if you have a headband, you may wear one, and it will cancel out any effects that you may be receiving from these towers. There are also devices you may purchase from helpingtorise.com that will also assist in eliminating those effects. So,
well, the danger is that there's a whole populace that has no protection, and they're all out there driving where all of that exposure is, and apparently it can kind of knock out people's minds, so that's not good on the road. Are we going to have to deal with them for very long?
Oh, of course not. Once galactic disclosure is announced, there'll be no more need of those.
I see. Good. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Indeed.
Thank you, and lots of love.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Our next caller now is 314, ending in 2036.
Thank you, Jane. It's Jim from St. Louis.
Oh, hello, Jim. Okay.
I'd like to ask Zorra a question about the satellites being shut down, and will that affect the transportation services for goods and food and stuff to the local stores?
The satellite shutdown is temporary, and they will be back up and running shortly. The purpose of them being shut down is in preparation for disclosure.
Very well. Thanks so much.
Indeed.
Okay. Wonderful question. Okay. Thank you so much, Jim. All right. I'll put you on back on mute. And our next caller, I wonder if I know who this might be. Hello.
Hello.
This is Tom.
Hello.
Hello, Tom. Yes, you're on the air.
208 Tom, the one who knows in Idaho. Hey, I don't really have a question, but I certainly got a comment. Thank you all, and especially Michael today for bringing his revelation of truth about what he actually experienced. And I thank you, Michael, from my heart, mind, that I'm a fellow sailor in the same time era that you were in the Navy. I was not on aboard the ship. I was in Vietnam. But anyway, I thank you for bringing and sharing your revelation with the public and all the others. I thank you, Jane, for taking my call. I thank you, beloved Zorra. But you brought also some great credence to our great brother, beloved brother Zorra, by sharing what you actually saw and witnessed with your with your sharing you brought to us all today. And I noticed today there's also a lot of 208 people on the call. So please keep telling everybody else the truth. The world is ready for it. It's time. It's now. We all coming into the now. I thank you all. I yield. I don't want to take up too much time, but I'd certainly like, if possible, Jane, if you could put our beloved Michael in touch with me and give him my phone number and see if he would call me.
Will do. I shall do that. Okay.
Thank you all
for that.
I will give you Michael's number later. And thank you also for your words of wisdom and support for Michael yourself. So thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute. And now we will go back to, let's see, I think the next number I have here is, I have to kind of go backwards here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone who has okay. Oh, goodness. It just keeps moving here. So our next number is 6239. I got to find you first. Hold on. Okay, here we go. 6239. Prefix is 562. 562, ending in 6239. You're on the air.
This is Cindy Taylor. I already called in asking about DEFCON 4, and Zorra said that was a false flag. But he also mentioned to this other man that the satellites were down for disclosure.
Preparation for disclosure.
That's wonderful. Thank you. You can mute me now.
Cindy.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Let me see. I guess sorry about that. The next person is 201 ending in 3790. Okay. Hello?
Hi. This is Nick
You are?
from New Jersey, and I have a question for Zorra.
All right. And your question?
I want to ask Zorra about Thomas Williams. He is the first who say about the QFS, the quantum financial system, and he mentioned that there will be no RV at all, only it will be some kind of financial programs for everyone. So I just want to clarify that from Zorra.
There is an RV, revaluation of currency, also known as the global currency reset. Yes, there is going to be is an ongoing revaluation that is taking place. Argentina has already gone and completed, so it is happening. For him to say it's not going to happen, he does not have all of the pieces of the puzzle.
Okay, next caller. This is it, folks. We're going to be gone in 1 minute. So 631 ending in 6333. 63633. You're on the air with Zorra.
It's Dee from New York.
Okay, you have.
Hi, it's Denise from New York.
Seconds. You have
Can you
40
hear me?
seconds.
Hi. One question for Zorra. Is Trump going to be reelected? President Trump. Is he going to be reelected in 2020?
I do not believe he will, because there is one of the opposite sex in alignment.
For 2020?
Okay, thank you, Denise.
Election?
We have to go. We have to go. Okay, everyone, here is a big one. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zorra.
Indeed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're gone. That's the end of our call.
Michael has just walked through the door. Blessings to you. Blessings.